Hello and welcome to the official Scottish Rugby Podcast, together with the Royal Bank of Scotland. Mossy, how are you? You're just off the training park, just on a session at Dorium?
Good, yeah. Hands are a bit cold, a bit blustery, windy, and that's inside. A brilliant training facility inside, but honestly, it's the coldest greenhouse you'll ever find. I don't know how it can possibly be as cold in there. The wind gets in and the cold air just hangs around, so pretty chilly, but yeah, all good after the weekend. And as you say, the Guinness Six Nations back in action, round one done, and we'll have a look at the games, but some positives, some negatives, absolutely some things to work on, but yeah, we can get our teeth into the certainly 3 games and the club international fixture as well that I went down on Friday night. A lot of positives around that, and obviously the Sydney Sevens as well.
Well, we've got Lisa Thomson in a little bit later, and we'll dive into the women's game with her. But did you see much of that game? It was a game that, you know, they could have won. It was really disappointing end. Intercept tries, an absolute killer. But I think if the game had kept going for a bit longer, then it was Scotland women's to win.
Yeah, it was that swing of the interception, wasn't it?
It was.
It was well finished as well by Ireland, but it was. I mean, there's so many examples of good building blocks in there from the women's team, and I just almost, I know they had their win 2 weeks ago over in Spain, 3 weeks ago over in Spain, but it just need a win in the Six Nations to give them the confidence, because they're doing a lot right. And you know, I did feel like you when it went to 18-14, there was a 5-pointer in it. We got a penalty around halfway, just towards the end. At least I kicked it to touch, and I thought, here we go, we've got the opportunity to wind it down, but we lost the ball in contact. And then I think there was an opportunity at the scrum at the end as well. But being in the game is really important. It's never easy to win on the road at any level, but we certainly just need that win in the Six Nations. And I think once the first one comes along, I think we'll see a few more.
I thought that you're dead right. You want to win that game, and they were in that game, and without that intercept, who knows? But then, unfortunately, that's just the way rugby goes. But you can see how much effort and hard work is going into that as well.
But you can see the quality of what they're trying to do and how they're trying to play. Some of the multi-phase attack is much better than it's been for a long time. Yep. I believe, in terms of the skill set to keep the ball alive, the skill set to get an offload away or to attack a right space. We saw that in the Japanese game in the whenever that was, October, November time at Scotstoun, and they've carried that, which is more difficult to do in a Six Nations, because the Six Nations is a competitive environment rather than a friendly environment, like an autumn international would be. So the skill level and the level of conditions allowing them to play a game that I believe suits them.
And it's a really balanced performance, especially going forward at the moment for me. It's not like there's only threats in certain areas of the park. When the forwards kept that ball tight, when the driving ball was getting going, they looked dangerous across the board. And the work ethic in defence has always been there, and even down to the last 5-10 minutes, when you and I both know you can be fairly tired in there.
No, I was never tired.
The effort was going in, and they forced turnovers and they forced penalties, and it seems, when we were talking very positively about a game that a close game, but ultimately a game that they lost, but to your point, the performance is going up and up. So
it's another challenge this week, though, isn't it?
It's a tough one.
It is a different level this week in terms of the experience that England have and the success that England have had, and the players. It is a different level, and there'll be a real kind of barometer of how far the progression's coming after this weekend when we face England.
Yeah, well, talking about games that could have been, let's have a look at the men's game. We've got Adam Hastings in a little bit later on, but that was a game that Scotland could have won.
Same story, isn't it? Really frustrating. What would you want before the game? It's be away from home against a top side. It's be in the game, stay in the game, don't beat yourself, don't lose the game early. If there's opportunities to take early, obviously go. And you saw that in the first opening phase of play, it was about a minute and a half of Scotland's attack was exceptional. Now that's not chucking up your jumper, that's attacking where the space was, whether it was Hamish and Hoggy out wide on the left, or Nick Heenan was outstanding his debut, first carry on the right, getting in behind Ireland and then multi-phase, but then he lost a penalty and just losing that little bit of accuracy. So I think for me, the first half, there were maybe 4 or 5 opportunities near the Irish line that we didn't take, that you kind of had to take, really, but we're in the game. We're in the game right to the death. And 3 things that frustrated me most were the missed opportunities.
On those missed opportunities, I agree with you, but then you've got to credit Ireland, you've got to credit CJ Stander in particular. He seemed to be the man. Whenever there was a key moment, he was the guy coming up with a big play.
You do, but in terms of missed opportunities, I don't think you just look at the last event or the bit where the whistle goes. I think maybe once or twice I've spoken about with one or two of the players today and the guys, staff. When you're close to the opposition line, there's not a lot of space, and everybody narrow. Now, I don't think Scotland should really have moved it to the width or should have thrown it wide, but just shifting the point of contact now and again, like we saw with Ireland's try. I mean, everybody, at the time was like, "Well, that looked quite simple," but actually really cute. It was really well organised, and it was just painting a different picture from Healy.
Gordon Darcy was talking commentary. He couldn't have timed it better. The Irish fans are looking for something different when they get into that 22 because it's been quite attritional, and they are up there with the best in the world at keeping the control of that ball when you get into the opposition 22, and then all of a sudden a little bit of interplay.
It doesn't look like much, does it?
No, but it's clever, and the way that Ali Price has got no option.
He has to come in.
And then all of a sudden you look at it, and there didn't seem to be a huge number deficit, and then it's a 4-on-1 in Sexton's running through a huge gap.
But if you see there are actually 2 contacts previous, you can see them setting it up and organising it, and you only know that once it's happened, obviously. So what I'm saying about the last, the missed opportunity when the whistle goes isn't necessarily a CJ Stander or whoever it is, Peter O'Mahony winning the ball. It's like how we can manipulate defence to stress them. And Scotland did so many good things. And there was, they were looking to change it up a wee bit, but I think we just got really direct and just got a little bit, in terms of our spacing, just got a little bit too narrow in attack. Even by getting a wee bit wider, spreading the width, making the defenders spread out a little bit, that the gaps between the defenders are ever so slightly, you're talking feet and inches here, ever so slightly wider, but it hopefully gives you opportunity to get in behind. So there's missed opportunities, and Hogg is one which it's it happens. You can't explain it. You can't really. You could see, and I spoke to him after the game as well, and he was gutted. But there's another 100 opportunities in that game to win it. Yeah. That's just the most high profile one because it was. But it's one he should score, and he knows that. And you know what? If he's under more pressure, he probably scores that. You just can't explain it. You can't justify it. You can't explain it. It just happens. I'm sure everybody who's ever played a game will have done something like that in training, or when you saw it with mistakes. I did it once. I remember we played in Cast in Europe for Edinburgh, and there was this similar multi-phase, great commitment for the team, and just as I was going over the line, I dropped the ball, and it was a Friday night in Cast, and I worried until the Monday. Like Andy Robinson was coach, you worried on the Monday, worried, all Friday night, Saturday, all the way home, Sunday. Think, oh my goodness, I need to face this. And of course, you apologise. You know you've done wrong. You can't explain it in your own eye. I've missed kicks that have gone along the ground in front of the post. It just happens. Not very often for us, but
I didn't drop the ball over the goal line very often. I mean, I didn't have the ball very often over the goal line.
So it eats away. And I remember walking into the review meeting on a Monday and Andy Robinson bringing the clip up. I thought, oh no, here we go. And you know what's coming. But he actually did something really, really quite supportive, because I think he knew, as Gregor did at the weekend, that's a mistake that it happens. He actually highlighted the work rate that I'd been involved in the build-up. I'd been involved in 2 or 3 phases before and made a link pass, made it clear out, got involved, and he was like, listen, that was all good, but make sure the end bit is equally as good. So it was quite a nice way of addressing the issue that was blatantly my fault, without hanging me out to dry. But yeah, missed opportunities, penalties conceded.
Yeah. What was it? Do you know when it finished?
Well, it was 5-4 in our favour. So we'd conceded 4 and Ireland conceded 5 at one point. The next time the stats came up, it was 12-8 against, and I think it ended up 14-9 or 14-8. So there was a big swing in that middle third of the game, and it's not often the number of penalties. It's the time at which they're conceded. So if
key penalties,
key ones, and most of them that were obvious penalties against us, Sexton kicked. There was a direct kind of consequence from a silly penalty on 3 or 4 occasions, which is frustrating. You won't get everything right. The referees, it's an absolute minefield. It's really difficult, but the ones that we could avoid, more often than not, were the ones that Sexton kicked the penalties from. And the third thing I thought was just, I thought when we got back to 5 points on 2 or 3 occasions, 5-point deficit on 2 or 3 occasions, 4-point deficit on 2 or 3 occasions in the second half, we didn't back up our recent penalty with someone really strong. I think the momentum swung back and they got back to their 7-point gap, and that was 1 or 2 kick receptions, 1 or 2 things in a row in third.
It was a close game, but to your point there, Ireland controlled the game, controlled the scoreboard better than we did.
Yeah. I
mean, that's easy to say because they ultimately scored more points,
did,
but they always just stuck themselves back into making sure they were at least that 7 points ahead. We never got it right close to the point, or even got our noses in front, which puts a different pressure on them.
And other than the end, when you're hunting a draw, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was always that buffer when we scored. They the next 2 or 3 things they did quite well, or not that we did anything particularly badly. You're right, we just never, once you got the pressure on, kept the foot on, and punished them. But
impressed by Ireland? Did you see the differences? Obviously, one of the teams with one of the 4 teams with different coaching.
Not really. Impressed by their defence, their last ditch defence, their resilience.
Similar tactics. A wee bit that bit of enterprise from Murray and Sexton. And
I think that's. Listen, you can't change things overnight,
no.
and you, as everyone says, you don't have a huge amount of time in preparation. You know, where the players or their clubs and they come in, and I think they've got 2 dominant figures at 9 and 10 in Murray and Sexton. Whether Murray continues, I don't know. I think he was quite lucky to start ahead of Cooney.
Yeah.
But if they're trying to manipulate or change their game plan a little bit, they've got 2 players who were so crucial and key, dominant in terms of their persona, and dominant in terms of how they suited and fitted into Joe Schmidt's game plan. It's hard for the decision makers in those 2 key roles to influence change if they're more likely to play how the previous coach played. So and I don't think Andy Farrell will change a lot quickly. I think any good coach makes changes incrementally. Yeah.
Personnel changes as well. The Murray Cooney one is the obvious one. He could have come in and changed that straight away. I'll be interested to see. I expect Cooney will get a start within the Six Nations.
Definitely. I think he'll probably start this week. Maybe it's Wales they play, isn't it?
Tell you, it is Wales this weekend. Yeah, so I'm not sure. I think he might go similar this weekend, but we'll see. One guy, and we won't talk too much more about Ireland, but one guy I did enjoy his reception was Big Dev Turner when he came back
cheer,
on. He got a great cheer. He missed out in the World Cup. He's got himself back in. 33 years old. He came back on. And again, Gordon Darcy said, I wonder where the line-out's going. And sure enough, Big Dave straight up wins the line-out. But I just thought it was a nice moment for him.
Hope for you, Al. And the 20s were over in Cork as well, Irish Independent Park. They came out the wrong side of a 38-26 result. I went through quite a lot of that game, worked with the under 20s lads this morning, and they were better than that score suggests.
Yep.
Blowing a gale, really, really strong wind. It was one of these winds that it was almost not impossible to play into, but it dominated everything you did. So Scotland had the wind in the first half, played really quite well, and then there was tries just before and just after half time from Ireland that punished them really. But a young squad and an exciting squad that will gain a lot of experience from that game in Ireland at the weekend.
Well, you might have heard the door going in the background. Adam Hastings just joined us, so we'll let him get his stuff off, get settled down. As you said, Adam Hastings was making his way in the door. He's now settled in. Adam, are you well?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, but a few bumps and bruises, but feeling all right.
Good. Chris was mentioning earlier on he was doing a training session over there. Good training session today.
Yeah, it was good. Just a bit of an install day, so a few new moves. Or actually, I shouldn't say that. Should I?
I don't know what they are though.
Couple moves for the England game. So yeah, just
couple
a
of
bit
old
of
things
that and a couple of skills. So yeah, it was fine.
Good. How much of a Monday like this is looking ahead to what's coming, and how much is looking back to what's going on? Obviously, review the game, but is a Monday afternoon session more looking ahead or is it more looking back?
Yeah, I think obviously you kind of go over the game a lot in the meetings and in the morning, so you kind of nail all that on the head then, and then afternoons just focusing on England there.
When did you come back in? Did you go home yesterday or were you straight back in?
No, so we flew into Edinburgh and then I think we got here about 12:30 and then just drove back to my parents' house.
On Saturday night?
Saturday night,
straight after the game.
So then we had all the Sunday to chill, but I was in last night.
Okay.
We bought a candle in me and Blair.
Yeah,
nice scented candles.
Can you remember what the scent you chose?
It said cotton and
white cotton and lavender.
Cotton and lavender, that was the one.
There's a true story.
Yeah.
Times have changed, Al. Times have changed when we used to share a room. That's nice though. It's a scented
it's more homely. More of a homely feel.
I'm not sure about a naked flame in a hotel room. You maybe go for some oil drops next time.
Yeah, well we were saying that, but we just made sure we
keep it away for the curtain, I think.
Yeah.
So the game, obviously the weekend, I think is worth looking back. A lot of positives. Your performance was, from my opinion, was a really positive thing. You had a lot to deal with in the build up, but in terms of how the team performed as well, I think we saw a lot of progression, we saw a lot of physicality. But from your point of view, what was the kind of most comforting things from the game, and then I suppose what are the things that need to be addressed moving ahead?
Comforting thing, I think we all seem to be on the same page. I think you've seen, especially at the start of the game and towards the end, you've seen us just really clicking in attack. I felt like we were all on the same page there. Boys were just kind of focusing on their job, weren't trying too much, which was good, and boding well for us.
Do you think that first phase we spoke about before you came in, that first minute and a half, that you moved them left, right, went to the middle, found the space, how important was that to settle the kind of nerves or get comfort like right across the team, because you did rock Ireland in that opening phase?
Yeah, huge. I think obviously there's a few new faces and a few new combinations as well coming in, so yeah, I think that just almost just settled the nerves completely, almost gave us a bit of belief and confidence that we could go out there and do our thing. So yeah, hugely important. Physically it was good as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, the impact.
Yeah, big boys. There's a few big boys on that park, which I was trying to stay out of the way of and give the ball to them. So the forwards stepped up massively, I thought. So they were the good comforting things. I think the things we need to improve on was just that conversion rate in the finish on. So obviously we got into their 22 a lot, but they've got some very good players over ball, and we probably played into their hands a little bit there, just got a bit isolated at times and let them do their thing.
So when you say that, Chris and I were talking earlier on about some of those key moments, maybe a difficult question to ask, what would you change? If you had your time again, what's the difference between converting a couple more of those opportunities and not?
That's a tough question. I think maybe just slightly more patience at times. We're maybe just going half a second too early, which just means we're half a second late in support, which gives them a chance to get over ball. Other times as well, maybe just changing the point of contact slightly. But yeah, other than that, I think it's literally just being on the same page a lot of the time in the 22. I think just chatting up these little areas and just making sure we're all together, because I think as soon as someone goes slightly half a second too early, as I said, I think that just isn't good. But
it was tiny margins, wasn't it? I mean, there was opportunities out there, and that's got to be, as well as disappointing not to take them, but really pleasing it created so many chances.
Yeah, definitely. I think you look, if we we had a chance to score, and unfortunately hockey, what happened there. We also had loads of other chances though where we made breaks and we just got turned over straight away in the finish zone. So it was disappointing there, but look, we were in the game the whole time, which is pleasing. But again, it comes back to it's pleasing, but it's also so frustrating because we know we could have won that game, and I think we should have.
In terms of, again, looking back, last year's Six Nations, or even since the World Cup, do you find a change in anything in terms of how hard it is, how quick it is?
Yeah, I think that first game's always massive. You can feel the step up in intensity just from obviously playing for club, and then into that test environment, bigger crowds, there's more energy, everyone's fitter, everyone's stronger, everyone's faster. So I mean, it's always definitely a step up. I think the biggest thing for us was the slight change in tactics. Defensively, obviously with Steve coming in, slight changes there, and I think in the game plan as well, a few changes there, and I think it just helped us click a little bit more, and everyone just seemed to be on the same page, as I said, which was good.
You've clicked into a good relationship with Hoggy. Obviously the captaincy's new to him, but you could see the small conversations happening when he's looking at goal or looking at touch, and you're very much part of those conversations too.
I've been extremely impressed with Hoggy, to be fair to him. Coming in as captain, he's been so positive. He's a very good speaker. He almost seems to know what to say at the right times, which is a sign of a good captain. So yeah, he's been brilliant. I think he's taken on this leadership role really well, and I'm sure he'll keep going into that role.
And a step up this week again, back at BT Murrayfield. It's a game that whets the appetite. Did you watch the England game yesterday, France?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Bit of a wet ball. Don't know if I'll fancy that at the weekend. Hopefully it'll be drier here, but look, they're a quality side. I think they'll be disappointed with the way they played. But they showed that even though they were out of it for a while, they can hurt teams. They've just got such quality individuals as well. So they'll be dangerous.
One thing we were debating earlier on, Adam, was your approach to the game, or the difference that Chris and I had an approach. There's a bigger hype around an England game. there's more fans engaged, there's more journalists. It just the noise level rises. Chris and I have got slightly different opinions on what you do with that, or
I'm
what
the
we did
boring
with
guy.
that as players.
As a boring guy, it just gets his head around it.
What do you
beats
do?
his chest.
Beating my chest from a Tuesday when the game's on a Saturday.
Exhausted by the time kickoff comes.
What's your approach to it, or what will be your approach to this week? Will you try and shelf all that extra hype, or will you grab it and use it and bring it to the game? Was that a leading question?
No, I think obviously it's important to kind of let that patronism come through. Obviously, I've been a Scotland fan my whole life and watched these games, growing up, and yeah, it's massive. It's the biggest game of our Six Nations every year, as it's theirs. So, I think it's important to let the hype. I suppose not the hype, just let the kind of passion come through, and remember all the history between all the games and things like that. But I think for myself, being a kind of playmaking role, you can't kind of let yourself get bogged down in this and get all angry and try and hit people. I think I've got to keep a level head. I think if I was a big meathead up front, I'd maybe let it.
Speak in your place, Al.
So yeah, I think I'll just be parking it.
So England coming up with the other thing we were debating was England coming off the back of a defeat. Does that make it even harder this weekend from a Scottish point of view, or are you just purely focused on what you guys are going to bring?
Nah, I mean, they were in a World Cup final 3 months ago, so I think they were due a bad game at some point.
And France are good as well.
Yeah, and France played really well, to be fair to them, started well. So yeah, look, I don't think really past results ever really matter in these kind of games. I think it's just who turns up on the day. So yeah.
Right, Adam, thanks for your time. Obviously, just off a training field and yet to go into a meeting, I think, as well, full on at the start of the week.
Thank you, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks very much, Adam, and good luck.
Oh, good, cheers.
Great to have Adam in. You know a reasonable amount about wearing the number 10 jersey. Were you impressed with him at the weekend?
Really impressed, and he just continued his form that he showed me Glasgow. It's really difficult as a number 10, and I played a lot there and was involved a lot, and basically there's so much pressure goes through you because the expectation is that you're going to be in control of everything, and that can't be the case. You're going to make probably 200 or 300 decisions in a game. It's unlikely you're going to get them all right, so you'll make more mistakes than other people because you're making far more decisions, you're executing far more skill, and it's really difficult, and everybody turns to you to see what's happening, whether it's calls from the outside in or the forwards going out, and you manage it amongst the other leaders, but ultimately you're the decision maker, you're the quarterback, and there's a lot of responsibility in his play, and I thought he was outstanding. I thought he was physically brave, which he always is, but at that intensity, he took a couple of dunce early on. He was hungry in defence to get back and make tackles that really weren't his man to make, but it's just his desire and the courage he's got. So you add all that into the mix, and you have to be the quarterback calling the plays, dictating the plays, and I thought he did really, really well.
Well, lucky enough to be joined by Lisa Thomson, fresh back from a game against Ireland at the weekend. Lisa, how are you? You body a bit sore after the game?
Aye, a bit sore from being battered about yesterday. Didn't think I was going to be able to get up this morning, but we're here. And
have you had a chance to review the game at all yet?
Yeah, looked at the first half on the flight back yesterday, last night. So I've looked at that. And
what's your initial thoughts?
We didn't have much ball, to be honest, in the first half. We defended a lot of the time, but I think the possession stats were about 65% to us. But yeah, defended that whole first half and just letting a couple easy tries early on, and we're under the pump a wee bit. But yeah, we got a bit of momentum going into the second half of that try before half time. So yeah, it's just tightening up on defensive errors and looking at next week really on that.
And controlled the game well in the second half, and the interception try was a killer blow, because at that stage it looked for all money as if you guys were going to get across the line.
Yeah, we were down there 22 for a while. Like you say, she got that intercept try, and it was almost a repeat of 2 years ago when we were there and Chloe got that exact try from that exact place in the pitch. So it's a tough one to take, and it took a while to recognise that she was 10 metres down the pitch and she was gone. She was quick winger.
She was, yeah.
But yeah, it was unfortunate, but we were controlling the game well in the second half and just trying to get points on the board really to get back into it.
That's it. There was plenty of opportunities, the penalty count was beginning to creep up. I think I saw you at one point having a wee word in the referee's ear just to ask the question, but continuing to go to the corner to try and create the opportunities to get the try, and a tough one. But game had gone on for an extra 5 minutes. Certainly for me sitting watching the game, if the game had gone on for an extra 5 minutes, I think Scotland were definitely going to win it.
Yeah, I'd like to think that. Like you say, the penalties were mounting up, and just checking with the referee how many that was. We got a yellow card at 78 minutes, was maybe a bit too late for us. But yeah, like you say, if we got another 5 minutes, we were down in their half, and it's just being clinical in the positions on the pitch. And when you've got the ball for that time, knowing what to do with it, and needed to keep the ball in hand, and we did that, and it was just an unfortunate error. They got the ball back and kicked the ball out, and that was the game. So
putting the result to one side, what about the performance? Were you happy with the performance? And did the game, this game against Spain, which is unusual to have a kind of warm-up game into a Six Nations Championship, do you think that helped create the performance that we saw yesterday?
Yeah, massively. We usually always play Spain in January prior to Six Nations, and we've lost that game previously past 2-3 years. So going into Six Nations has been tough to kind of get the girls going again. So everybody was really excited to play Ireland, and I think that showed in terms of our performance. Like, put out a good 65-minute performance there, and I think that's how the game went. Took too long to get into it, but yeah, super proud of the girls for the 65 minutes that we put in there, and like towards the end of the game. Rachel
Malcolm had a piece on it at half time. Was talking about the fact that although it's a young squad, there's an awful lot of experience in the squad as well. How important is that for the next few weeks, and what's going to be a tough Six Nations tournament? Aye,
massively. Like, there's a lot of experience within the girls. Like, we're all still quite young, but like you say, there's a lot of caps between us. Me and Rona got capped when we were 18 years old, and a lot of the girls have been capped when sort of 18, 19 years old. So we've been through a lot past 5 years, so I think that's helped us. We've learnt a lot along our ways. So yeah, it's been in lots of different situations, and being in these situations a lot more, and knowing how to sort of combat them. And I think we're getting there. We're learning every time we play a game, so I think we'll just keep pushing forward.
And what about your role then? You talk about the experience you've got. You the arm around the shoulder for the youngsters coming in the squad, and kind of talking through some of the experiences that you've had.
Try to be. Try to keep my emotions to myself now. I remember being that 18, 19 year old naive little teenager that I was. Just, you lose a game, cry after it, but you just need to keep those emotions to yourself now, and like you say, look after the youngsters and make sure they're not nervous before the game. Just keep those nerves and use them as fuel for the game, and tell them it's just another game of rugby.
And you're building not just the performance on the park, but the squad as well. I know the South African trip was massive for that, and that's key how tight you are as a group.
Aye, we're all really, really good pals, and like that, I think that shows on the pitch. Like, we'll fight for each other to that 80th minute, and I think that helps us a lot. Like, we all get on outside of camp, spend every single day together, whether it's training or if we're going out for lunch together, just as pals. So I think it helps us massively on the pitch. Yeah.
Let's look ahead to next week. So you'll come back in this Thursday. So a few days to go back to work or go back to university, and I suppose forget about the game for a while, which won't do any harm, although you will have your analysis to do. And then looking ahead to England, what can you expect from them?
To be honest, I think sort of similar to what Ireland gave us, line speed, physicality, decent set piece. Like, I think that's what England's known for. I think we can expect more of the same from England. So we'll, like you say, we'll go out and review the game and come back in on Thursday and present to the group, and we'll look ahead then. And you've got your own responsibilities within that. You were saying earlier on that you've been split into groups. So in particular, what will you be looking at both from last week and ahead to England? So we'll just review the Ireland game. I'm in the contact group, so we'll just see if we did what we were trying to do against Ireland well, and see how we can rectify that for England. And it's an early kick-off against England on Sunday. It's 12:10 down at Scots. And do you enjoy the early kick-offs, or would you rather it was a night-time game? I would rather it was a wee bit later than 12. But it's fine. You just get up and get out, and before you know it, you're on the pitch playing rugby. So you've not got much time to think about it, to be honest. 2 meals before you go in. That was always the thing that got me with early kick-offs, because you've got to have breakfast, then you've got to have pre-match. And I don't know about you, but my pre-match was always 3 hours out. So if it was
12 kick-off, I'd be eating spaghetti bolognese at 10 past 9 in the morning. Is that
Aye, it's about we're a couple hours before kick-off now. I kind of avoid that meal. We get pancakes on the pre-match meal now, so I'll have a big breakfast. Aye, so it's a good time.
It's a lot better than we used to get.
Have my breakfast, probably a couple courses at breakfast, let that get down, and then have a wee pancake and banana, and yeah, ready to go then.
And you guys are building something at Scotstoun as well. Like, the support's growing and growing. I've been down to a few games to bring my family down. My wee girl's a massive fan, and you're inspiring a lot of people to come and watch you, and that must help with the performances on the park as well.
Yeah, massively. Like you say, it's the word inspiring is like crazy for us. We're still young ourselves, and to think that we're inspiring young girls is a weird feeling, but it's so good that like young girls have something to look up to. But yeah, we're building something great at Scotstoun. We absolutely love playing there in Glasgow with crowds that we're starting to get, and it's just such a nice home ground to have.
Well, I can tell you undoubtedly are inspiring. My girl just turned 11 last week. When I bring her down, I did use some from privileges and got her down to pitch side afterwards, and she met a few of you, and she's not stopped going on about it, so she'll be back there on Sunday cheering you guys on. When you look at some of the youngsters that have come into the squad, some girls getting their first opportunity to play Six Nations rugby, anybody stand out for you? Anybody's really stood up the first week that you're excited about seeing over the next few weeks?
I think definitely wee Maz McDonald. Good to see her get her first cap last week, and good to come on when we were ahead as well. She got such good opportunity to just go out and express herself, and she's done so well against Spain, and to get our first cap against our second cap against Ireland, our first start. She controlled the game well. She wasn't nervous. She said against Spain, she was so chilled, and then everybody was like, "Mary, it's just a game of rugby. It's just a game of rugby." She's getting stressed out because everybody else was stressed out. But she's such a good person to have. She just came in sort of just before the new year, and she's got straight up to pace straight away. So yeah, really exciting to see her journey flourish.
Clearly, every game that you go into, you're looking to win. It'll be no different against England this weekend, and hopefully we'll get a fantastic result. But there's a bigger piece as well, isn't there? And we talked there about new players and how tight you are as a squad. You'll be measuring yourself not just on results, but where you are as a squad at the end of the Six Nations. How much closer you are to that, I suppose, ultimate goal of the World Cup qualification. Now, that is difficult to measure purely in results. It's about you guys building something internally as well. Yeah,
definitely. I think that's exactly what we spoke about after the Ireland game. We're much closer, and obviously we were going for that win yesterday. But like you say, we're looking at that bigger picture, and we're looking to peak in September. We're adding so much depth to our squad now, and it's just exciting, the amount of young players coming through. And like I said, we're just looking to peak in September for the World Cup qualification, and that is our ultimate goal, is to get to that World Cup in 2021.
You mentioned earlier that inspiring the next generation, if you like, was something that would be different from you, but you are doing that, and I can see that firsthand with my wee girl. But what would you want from the supporters? So we talk about building momentum and building a squad, and you guys are working so hard to make sure you're moving forward. What would your ask be? What would you want from the fans?
Just get along with Scotstoun, come support us, and just come, and you'll not be disappointed with the game. You'll enjoy it, and it's a fast-paced game, and just get along with Scotstoun and come and enjoy yourself. And
it's a game that, regardless of how old you are, regardless of whether you're playing rugby or not playing rugby, to your point, it's entertaining stuff. And I mean, the passion, the pride, and the performance and the quality that you guys are putting on there are things that people are going to want to get down and see.
Yeah, I hope so.
Definitely.
we work hard every single day to put out a performance in Scotstoun or an away match, wherever we are, and I hope that people can come along and enjoy that, and get more people involved playing rugby, or just getting along coaching, or just watching a game, anything. Just get yourself involved in rugby.
We'll say it again, 12 down at Scotstoun on Sunday. So if you're through on Saturday watching the men play and you're back in Glasgow, or even you can make that trip, get along, because it'll be a fantastic event, and hopefully, as I say, you guys can get a brilliant result against England. So we're going to leave the rugby behind. We've got a new partner here at the podcast in the Royal Bank, and we're going to ask you a few quick fire questions around some of your off-field activities, if I can.
Yep.
What was your first job? What did you do first of all to earn money?
First job, I was about 13 or 12 years old, and I had a paper round in Hawick.
And was it one of these paper rounds where you only had to deliver 15, 20 papers and earn a fortune, or were you out?
No, it was one of them, unfortunately. I think I had about 60 papers, But if it was cold or dark, my dad would drive me around the paper round.
Nice. If you were to give, well, I was going to say 16, but maybe you go back to the 12 or 13 when you started earning your own money, give yourself a little bit of financial advice, what would that be?
I think just look after it. Enjoy things, but yeah, save it, put a wee bit away for a rainy day.
How's your balance on that? Are you a saver or are you a spender?
I'm a spender.
You're a spender, okay.
Yeah.
I can see why the advice is coming to the 13-year-old.
It's not
you.
good.
What about projects away from rugby? Is there anything that you do business related, or the way I look at it, Lisa, I reckon you only have one good idea from away from earning an awful lot of money. You need that one. You need the widget in the bottom of the can, something along those lines. You got anything that stands out for you? What would make your life easier?
I think a car that would be able to drive me around by myself. One, I wouldn't need to get my driving lessons, try and fit them into my schedule, and I could recover better as well. They would just drive me around. So basically a taxi without the taxi man.
A driverless car can't be that far away.
No, I think I've heard rumours of that actually.
We'll look out for
Maybe
it.
I'll jump on that.
Yeah. What are you going to do when you finish playing? What's your plans then?
I think there's a few different options. At the minute I'm doing a bit of coaching alongside Eric Jones, who was actually used to be my coach when I was younger, at Lismore. I'm doing a bit just in the schools and seeing rugby like at its core, what it can give to youngsters. But it's kind of made me think about what I want to do in terms of potentially going into PE teaching. So I'm looking at that after I finish my undergrad degree, which I went part-time at to prolong that so I can continue to play rugby. But yeah, I'm thinking a little bit about PE teaching at the minute. That
coaching element, do you believe does that help you as a player? People talk often about the fact that you'll learn a lot quicker if you can actually teach it.
Yeah, I think so. At the minute it's thinking about rugby at its core and in simpler forms how to coach the basic skills, and I think that is definitely helping me think more about the basics in my game.
Well, Lisa, thank you very much for coming in. An incredibly hard test match yesterday, followed by a tough journey back. Really appreciate you taking the time to come in and see us today. Best of luck at this weekend and best of luck with the rest of the championship.
Cheers, thank you very much.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Rachel Malcolm, the captain of Scotland, had done a brilliant piece at half-time on Sunday's game with BBC Alba. We now have the opportunity to hear a segment of that interview.
Judging from where you've seen the team come from in the last few years, what do you think the potential of this team is? In terms of the structure, the management, the support, everything that's there now, what do you think the potential is?
I don't think we've even come anywhere near close to the potential that this particular squad has. I think we have the ability to achieve so much in the next couple of years, and we've been on a bit of a journey in the time that I've been in here. There's been some really good ups, but there's been a lot of downs, and at the moment, you know, the culture that we're building and the depth that we're building within the squad, the staff that we now have, the support that we're getting from Scottish Rugby is better than it's ever been, and kind of from that point of view, with that in place, I think we have the ability now to reach that potential. It's a really exciting time. With the coach that we have in Goose this season, I don't think there's any danger of our feet coming off the ground. He would be the first one to say that we need to stay pretty grounded with that. And I don't think there is any danger in terms of this squad in particular getting too excited. We're very realistic in terms of where we're at. We're realistic in terms of where we can get to and what we can achieve, but we also know exactly what needs to happen for that to happen. And I think getting ahead of yourselves, even one game at a time, is probably too much. So at the moment, we're just focusing on the game ahead of us and trying to put in our best performance we can for Scottish Rugby.
In saying that though, how easy is it to put the World Cup 2021 out of your mind, because surely everything's geared towards getting to New Zealand?
Everything is geared towards getting to New Zealand, but if we don't get what we're doing right now right, then we haven't got hope of that. The stuff that we're doing now is so much more important in terms of building this squad, building the depth within the squad, building the understanding within the players within the squad. This is what this period is all about, and unless we get that right, then we're going to have a really tough job in September, November in terms of World Cup qualifications. So although that is kind of the end goal, these little goals that we've got going along are what's going to get us there, and that's why the focus has got to be very much on kind of one step at a time as we go through.
Chris, you had a bit of a look at some of the other games that go on at the weekend. Club 15 were playing, as were the Sevens.
Yeah, the Club 15 were down at Nerdale actually on Friday night. I went down to that one, and the kind of the story before the game was it was going to be a really, really tough ask, a big ask of our Scotland Club 15 players who were playing against the pick of the All Ireland League, the Irish Club International side, which is a strong league. The professionals play in that a lot. There's quite often internationals dripping in and out of that All Ireland League. And our club players were without our Super 6 players, but it was really heartening. And Scotland lost. They lost 39-17 at home. But there's some brilliant individual performances, and I thought the team collective performance against a team who were perceived to be better, who probably were better, but it was a brilliant example of players playing above what people expected of them. A real collective unity, a physicality, a commitment to the cause. I mean, some of the collisions were massive, and the tries scored were excellent. They fell short on the scoreboard, but in many ways of what was expected of them. And it's another example. It's an example of players playing above, not themselves because they do that, but just playing at a level that maybe some of them didn't believe they could do and play it, and maybe certainly others outside the squad wouldn't believe they could play it, because it was a top performance against a really, really difficult side. Yeah, they're disappointing to lose. It was windy down at Netherdale. It was a wee bit scrappy, but their ability to hold possession for as long as they did, and the tries they scored. Bickerstaff's try in the second half was exceptional finish. I thought Aaron McComb at 10, his distribution was outstanding in terms of how he fixes and moves the ball, and there was a bit of grunt up front and no backward step. So although they fell short, they play Ireland in Dublin this weekend, in the double header with the Dalrider Cup. But I was proud watching them do it that way.
And you saying that highlights how important these games are to give people the opportunity to show exactly what they can do.
Absolutely, totally. I think it's important for if you're an amateur player and you can aspire to being the best amateur player, you deserve a right to play for your country. And the Sevens were over in Sydney, so they finished 11th again, same as the week before New Zealand. Disappointing day one defeats the USA, who were pretty hot in all honesty, and Australia the home side, and there's a draw with Japan, and who overcame Wales 21-5 on day two. So stretched to the limit a little bit, Sevens at the moment in terms of resources with injuries, searing heat for the second week running, but they're plugging away, and they'll hope to better those 11 finishes in the next few rounds.
Oh, absolutely. We've got a huge weekend of rugby coming up in our Guinness Six Nations round, as well as the women and under-20s looking to do as well as possible. And you mentioned that return fixture for the Club International 15. Enjoy the rugby, and thank you very much for listening.
Are you looking to save up for a new Scotland shirt or maybe a ticket to the autumn test? The Royal Bank of Scotland's mobile banking app can help you track your spending. Simply search the spending feature within the app to find out more. App eligibility applies.